All right, hey everybody. So today we're going to talk about ultimate checkout. Stop leaving money on the table. So I'm Brandon DePauw. I'm Director of Professional Services here at Miva. Over the years, I've done a lot of work on optimizing checkouts with various customers. I can say one of the satisfying things has been optimizing the web store, but particularly checkout. When you make those significant impacts and see those metric changes on conversion rate and lowering abandonment, it's very satisfying. So I'm excited to dive into this with you all today. Do we have a little bit of echo? All right, so the checkout, your highest intent page, right? So the checkout page is basically, sorry, one second. So our goal today is to identify friction, implement concrete changes, and recover lost revenue. So getting the customer all the way to the checkout page is expensive, right? And if you lose them there, it really, really hurts. The checkout page is your highest intent page, so it's critical to stop and ask the question to yourself, why are they leaving? We aren't going to go into flashy gimmicks and things like that today. We're going to talk about concrete, data-based changes that are backed by UX best practices and that we can go and implement on your Miva stores and stop those leaks immediately. So the first step we're going to look at, step one, is the basket page, right? So, the basket page is where customers come to review their intent. They've gotten this far in their journey, they've got their items in their cart, their intent now is to purchase, but they need to stop, take a breath, review, and make sure their intent is solid. And this is your opportunity to remove distractions. You want to clarify costs, and you want to increase average order value whenever possible. So first, you want a clear order summary, right? Your order summary should be on the right-hand side. It should be showing a subtotal. It should be showing shipping. It should be showing an option for promo code fields, and then that final total in there. On mobile in particular, you want to make sure that summary for the cart is going to be below, and you want your checkout buttons to be full width, and your continue to shopping to be full width as well. So that basket review stage, we need to remove that cognitive load, right? If you have products with many, many attributes, so as you can see on here, right? If you have a long list of attributes, you want to take a step and consider truncating that, right? You want to reduce that cognitive load, potentially give them a view details link to be able to expand that section. So we can see if we skip to this next slide, what that change might look like, right? That's significantly fewer attributes that are showing on there. Now that's going to be more impactful as you have a cart contents that have a variety of items within there. So the next thing you consider, right, is a free shipping progress bar. So a lot of customers are going to look for free shipping. Gamifying that a little bit with that progress bar is a super effective way to increase average order value. People want to add more content to their carts, reach that free shipping. So you do want to assess, though, if your average cart has a high ticket item or if you typically sell fewer items in your cart, right? So pairing that with the continue shopping button is okay, assuming that you don't want to distract them from a laser focus if you have a high average order value basket with high ticket items. So Bainmiller Institute research shows that 48% of cart abandonments are due to unexpected costs. So things like shipping, tax, and fees. So we want to make sure that shipping estimator, additionally, is readily available in that cart summary. So I mentioned earlier about having shipping as one of those things listed in that cart summary. So sometimes that, in this case, that first basket step, it may just be the first step of them estimating that shipping and getting some expectations on what that cost is going to be for them. So you might notice that these, right? This isn't rocket science. A lot of this stuff is core fundamentals to best practices for basket and checkout flows. But oftentimes we hear these things, we take these notes, and then we go, but we don't actually take the steps to implement. As we're going through this, I'd really, really encourage you to make a note of what you can go and apply to your site immediately, right? A lot of these things are not monumental efforts, but they can make significant impact on abandonment rate, on conversion rate, all of that. So, actionable cart management. We want a frictionless quantity updates. It's very old school to be able to have to go and input the individual quantity and then hit an update button. Make sure you're using a best practice of a simple plus minus to make sure that's frictionless. You want to give them the ability to have a save for later link so customers can compile their desired basket without losing sight on the things they might want to buy in the future. So for example, people come to your site, add a bunch of products to their cart, considering what their purchases may be, and they make an assessment of like, hey, I'm ready to buy these items right now, but these other ones I'm going to consider for later. You don't want them to simply have to delete that and just store it in the memory banks, right? If you have the ability for them to save it later, create an account, they're going to be way more committed to potentially coming back next time when they're ready to pull that trigger and save those and access those saved items and make that purchase. But if they just have to delete, there's a less likelihood there. Include a clear cart option, again, styled as a text link that's not distracting for those customers, but it has to have a confirmation step. You don't want it to inadvertently then click that and clear the baskets out. Unless your store typically sells high-ticket items with a very small basket size, this usability feature could be really important, right? You don't want people to curate a large list of products in their basket and then have to go hit remove, 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 remove. That already creates a frustrating experience. So the next item on this is persistent cross-device baskets. So implementing cross-device baskets is critical for high average order value stores. So users, in this case, will often go and shop and curate their baskets on a mobile device, and then they may go home or their work computer on a desktop to then go and complete that purchase. But if they go through all that effort, they go home, they log in, their basket's gone, you've lost that sale, right? So we recommend this feature very, very frequently in our pro performance service audits with professional services. And now we have a service package for implementing cross-device baskets, so we can help you get this up and running very easily, which is exciting. All right, sign-in. So eliminate the login roadblock before ordering. I had a good conversation about this last night. Ditch the dedicated login page. So a standard standalone login page before the order process creates cognitive load, right? We want to remove that and streamline into that purchase. So good news is, this is very easy to remove, right? Like in some cases, some stores, if you have B2B workflows or something where you need them to log in, maybe that's really relevant. But most of the time, right, you want to eliminate this step and get them straight into the OCST customer information page, starting checkout. It's most of the time just a checkbox in the admin to turn this off if your template is set to just point to the standard page with checkout. If not, it's just a simple code change. So this is a small thing that you can do immediately if you have this page on to make a big impact. You want to push these users directly into the customer information step where they can start giving you their information immediately. So Bayard Institute research reveals that 29% of US shoppers abandon their orders due to the requirement of creating a customer account. So moving this login prompt to the customer information page allows, again, them to start that process immediately. And you can provide them a subtle, hey, you already have an account, go ahead and log in during the normal customer information data flow when they're inputting on that next page. All right, so step 3, we have customer information. So this is decluttering the form. So this is where friction causes the highest drop-off. You want to make sure data entry, in this case, is effortless. This is where you'll include, again, that subtle login. So you can see, for an example, just a small little login prompt here at the top, not obtrusive. Gives them the option to use that if they have an account, but otherwise they can just dive right in and start giving you their customer information in those fields. Forms with over 15 fields have a 25% abandonment rate compared to just 5% for shorter forms. So review this page, review the fields that you're requiring currently, and ask yourself, what is actually critical and what do you need on that page right now? Ditch the complex and cumbersome color coding of different required legends for required fields. Move to a simple asterisk option or the optional label. And make sure your fields are at least 50 pixels tall. So this is going to avoid people on mobile rage tapping those field buttons. It's a simple change, but again, you want to make sure that the right height so that mobile usability is high. Give your users an edit cart link right in the order summary. Again, if they need to go back and make any edits to their cart, you don't want them to have to click around and use the browser back button or feel trapped inside that. You want it to feel intuitive. They can go back, edit their carts, and then resume that checkout process they're familiar with. Don't make them hunt for the ability to go back. All right, step 3. So we got customer information. This is where you want the bulletproof address entry. So autocomplete. Autocomplete speeds up mobile entry and stops errors, right? Again, we talked about those fields being high enough, typing in there, typing in mobile, right? Autocomplete helps that a lot. It helps out on desktop too. I mean, this is frankly something that I've become kind of expectant of when I'm going in to enter customer information in any of these types of forms. So autocomplete is great, and it also helps mitigate those errors during entry. Now, in the times that a typo does make it through, even past that, don't use a tiny modal pop-up for the actual address validation, right? You want to have, users have modal blindness at this point, right? Like, we get so many pop-ups and modal things, they just click off of it without reading it. Giving them that dedicated full screen experience forces them to take the action of validating that address and completing that step, making sure the suggested address versus the original submitted address is accurate and mitigating those issues. So, just this can save thousands in return to sender fees, right? Making sure that information is accurate. All right, step 4, shipping. Streamlined shipping and payment. So clarity is critical to prevent users from second-guessing their purchase due to confusing a UI or a lack of options. So on mobile, you want to collapse that order summary down and move it to the top above the fold to ensure that that primary CTA continues to be full width. All right, you don't want that to be, make it impossible to miss. But again, you can see here in this example, just collapsed up there. They can expand it if they need, but they're getting the information immediately, right? Starting to see shipping information, the fields that matter right there. They've already done their review on the basket page. You still have it accessible for them, but you're not taking up valuable real estate on that mobile screen. Next, you want to use radio buttons, not drop-downs. So drop-downs, they hide the options. They make them have to do multiple clicks, and that's just not the great user experience. You want to be able to have radio buttons that expose everything instantly to that customer. If you have delivery notes are something, again, make that field small or make it expandable. You don't want to take up a bunch of space, vertical real estate again. With delivery notes, let them expand it if they actually need it. Offer additional payment options like PayPal and Apple Pay, right? So 11% of users abandon if they're not available, and another 6% of people rely on those as a fallback. So it's not always just about people that only want to use that method. If they have an issue with credit card entry and there's some validation that fails in their authorization of their card for credit card, 6% of people depend on these as their fallback payment method. If you offer gift certificates, so move the gift certificate fields within the primary payment section where people expect to be finding those. Don't make them hunt for them. It can be a bit distracting, right? So this may be a minor customization to get those fields in and get it under that payment section. But if your site is heavy on customers using those gift certificates, it's worth that assessment and consideration, getting them in that place where they expect to look for them. All right, so step 5, payment and invoice pages. So this is where you're sealing the deal. So the final hurdle requires absolute trust and a smooth landing with the customer. So standardizing your layout. So for desktop, payments on the left and the order summary on the right. And we talked about this on mobile and desktop. You want the same pattern to exist on each of the different checkout steps so it's consistent for the customer. So around the credit card fields, you want to make sure you're including your trust indicators. And keep the CVV information simple. The tooltip is sufficient now, right? A little tooltip icon next to those CVV fields if people need to click it and expand it. You don't need to take up a bunch of space, showing that a different way. 25% of users abandon due to concerns with their credit card security. So you need to ensure that the customer feels confident and comfortable on that checkout page. And finally, after they buy and land on the invoice page, then you can ask them for their customer account. They've already gone through your checkout process effortlessly. They're primed now to say yes to creating that account on that invoice page. And again, that's something that can be set up and done. It's on Shadows, but you can implement that on your store. So removing that login page like we talked about earlier, you don't want that extra step up front. Letting them effortlessly go through the checkout, capture that account on the invoice page. It's the best practice. So we talked about a decent number of stuff. I want to call out, I hope you've taken some notes on this. Again, I feel like it's not rocket science. These are things a lot of us know, but again, we go through many, many sites, and some of these simple changes are just not implemented on there yet. But some of these simple changes make big impact. Some key top 3 things to call out here. Prioritize that guest experience. Let them get the revenue be captured, collect their account afterwards. Fix your address data capture. Make that seamless, make it smooth, make it not painful for a customer. The moment they get frustrated in that experience when entering their information, they've already entered a different mental state during that purchase journey. And give your customers persistent baskets through cross-device baskets. Again, if they are curating a basket for themselves and making a big decision on a purchase, particularly high average order value, you don't want to lose that. You want them to be able to log back in, complete their purchase, and be good to go. So if you're not already signed up for ProPerform, reach out, come speak to somebody here at Miva. We'd love to get you information about it so we can start helping you do an audit and get some of these revisions implemented on your store, give you guidance on that. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions about checkout optimizations, please come see me over there at that table. Again, I've worked already with a lot of you over the years on implementing some of these, and some of you are new faces, so it's good to see you, the ones that I've met so far. And please, again, come say hi to me over there. It's really satisfying. This is a key part of your store that, if you give it the right love, can make a lot of positive impact on these key metrics for yourselves. So thank you so much.